Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to Stardew Valley. I just decided that I was going to do another playthrough of Stardew Valley, entirely unmodded. As you can see, there's no menu down here in the corner. I've been obsessed with this game basically since I knew about it, but my obsession has come back in a big way recently because I went to go see Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons, which was a live orchestra performing the original soundtrack music for Stardew Valley, which was incredible, and the visuals were great. Eric Baroni, who is Concerned Ape, who is the guy who coded this entire game, was there on stage, and it was just this really cool experience. And then I found out that because Stardew Valley has been free as a promotion as part of this for a lot of people, a lot more people are playing it, and specifically a friend of mine is playing it. And there can be, especially since, I started it when it was 1.1, and then just new features have added on since then. Starting it now with it being 1.6, there's so much stuff, it's easy to get overwhelmed. So I kind of wanted to, this isn't going to be a 10 things I wish I knew about Stardew Valley before I started playing. There's plenty of those out there, and if you're interested in them, there's a ton of them you can find. Instead, this is going to be just how I play the game. Everybody plays it differently, and if you feel something, if you're playing it and you're like, oh, I want to play it this way, do that. If you want to do things differently than I do, feel free. But this is just to give you a baseline that you can build your preferred style off of if you're so inclined to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and start up a new game. Most of my games I play a little bit modded, so I'm thinking I'm going to stick with the standard farm. There's a lot to like about a lot of these. The Meadowlands farm is amazing. You start with chickens instead of with and hay, instead of starting with parsnip seeds. The beach farm is really fun, but it makes it so that once you get sprinklers, you can't use them as much, so it makes your watering can more relevant over the long period. This is meant for multiplayer. This one is much less awesome, I think. Some people really like it. I don't like it. It basically just has monsters on your farm. I don't really like Riverland or Hilltop. They're just too restricted, and the benefit does not at all outweigh the drawback of the way the farm is laid out. I absolutely love the forest farm, and so for me, it's always between the forest farm and the Meadowlands farm, and then occasionally I'll play with the beach farm just to do something different. But I'm going to play with the standard farm because that's what most people who are starting the game are going to play with, and so then that way you don't get the other ones. So you can just explore all of the rest of these on your own and make your own decisions about them. But I'm just going to make this me. I'm going to name this YouTube farm. And I'm doing that because otherwise I won't necessarily know which save game I will to be loading at any given time. As I said, a lot of my other saves have mods, and so it can break things if I load into them with playing it without mods, etc., etc. So I want to make sure that I know exactly which one to load into. For favorite thing, I'm just going to say coffee. That's a good one. I always go with a dog. This one looks a lot like the newest dog we just got, Buzz. So I'm gonna have Buzz be my dog. I am gonna pretty quickly and easily make a character that looks an awful lot like me if I still had hair. No, the hair's fine. Hair color needs to get darker. Okay, jeans get darker. I'm gonna wear a basic black shirt. There's my goatee. All right, this is me. I'm going to go ahead and skip the intro because this isn't as much a Let's Play as a gameplay. So kind of show how I play the game, share some tips along the way. It's hard to just think of things out of context of the game because there's so much to this game. I am going to leave all of this normal so that we can talk about it in the context, and then later, as you play through the game multiple times, you can change it and do whatever you want to it. But I'm just going to absolutely have this start as normal. This is where you can go to change it so you get, if you want to play through and not have the exact same bundles in the community center, you can choose remixed. And that makes it so you'll get different community center bundles and that kind of thing. I'm just not needing that right now, so let's go ahead and get started. This first video is probably going to be longer than most, but I'm going to be targeting 30 to 45 minutes. That's usually about 3 days, but I think I'll only do 2 for this first one, so it might come out about the same length, but it'll only be 2 days instead because of all of the beginning stuff. So this is the basics of the basics, but pretty much every day you should go and watch your TV and check the weather report. It will tell you what the next day's weather is going to be, and that helps you plan for what you're going to do. Obviously, it's going to be a beautiful sunny day. It always is on the 2nd. It's always sunny on the 2nd. It always rains on the 3rd. There are a couple other days that are absolutely fixed. So all of the festival days are always sunny. And then I've just recently discovered that there's 2 days, the 13th and the 26th in summer, that it always storms, no matter what. And that can be really useful for planning things like upgrading your watering can around, because when it rains, you don't have to water, so you can safely upgrade your watering can without missing a day of watering. So anyway, so I have a particular order I keep this in. I think most people probably do. They keep their tools in a specific order. You can keep them in whatever order you want to, but I find it easier to select between them if I know exactly how far to go, that kind of thing. Actually, I usually use the number keys because also I play on PC exclusively. I haven't really played it on console much. I mean, I'll play it on Switch occasionally, I guess, so I guess there's some of that. But so my very first step is I'm going to go around and clear out all the stuff that doesn't cost me any energy. Swinging your scythe does not cost energy, nor does your sword when you get one. And I'm not going to like clear the whole farm by any stretch, but everything around the house I'm going to clear out. And the reason I'm going to do that is because that can get me mixed seeds, which is really good, and it can help me plan what I'm going to be doing later. So I just sort of clear all this stuff in a pretty good radius, basically down to kind of by the pond. Yeah, these are the quests. Yeah, cultivate and harvest the parsnip, and greet people. It is technically possible, I think. Well, no, I guess it isn't because you can't meet Willie. I was going to say, to get that done in day one, you can theoretically if you, especially as you get to the higher levels of friendship with people, it becomes a lot easier to do stuff like that because, you know, you can then go into their room and you can't otherwise. All right. So now I'm going to focus on wood first. And the reason for that is because that's how you build a chest. And a chest stores all your junk. I'm going to hit all of the driftwood. When you're on the most basic axe, driftwood is literally the most efficient. Well, I guess knocking down trees is probably the most efficient way to get wood to energy. But so one swing gets you one wood. When you're first working, what kind of trees you're chopping down doesn't matter. But it is worth keeping in mind that the ones that are paler in color are maple trees, and the ones that are darker in color are oak trees. Oak trees are the rarest, so you're the more likely to get pine cones and maple seeds than you are acorns, which drop out of oak trees. At level 1, you don't get any of that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But most of the time, I tend to prefer to chop down pine trees because that's the most common thing. The cindersap forest that's just due south of the farm is all pine trees. Well, maybe not all, but almost all. Okay. So we're kind of low on energy here. I'm going to chop down the saplings. I don't normally like to waste energy chopping down saplings because it's really not that energy efficient, but they're kind of in my way, so it is what it is. I'm going to put the chest here. I'm going to make it gray. If you didn't know that you can change the color of the chest, it's really useful to be able to do so you can remember which chests hold what stuff. My first chest, I always make like this gray color, and that's for building materials. To start with, I'm going to put basically everything in here, but eventually I'm going to split it up so crop-oriented things are going to go in one, so crops and plants and that kind of stuff, forage items, and seeds, but then construction materials and stuff will go in another, but I don't really need to worry about that just yet. Okay, so first we're going to break open a bunch of rocks. So one of the things that's the hardest about this is making sure you have enough energy day one, and there are a couple of tricks to that. So I'm going to start over here because that's less walking to fill my watering can. So I have 15, so I'm going to do a 5x3. Okay. I'm going to do a second one of these. Because I don't do less than 30 crops to start with. Ooh, hey, clay. Love that. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to water all of these. So what I'm going to have to do is go try and find foraged food to give me some energy back so that I can finish this out. Yeah, I'm going to be able to get... Because I have about 30 energy worth of watering to do and 16 energy to do it with. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant these, get them out of my inventory. I'm going to go put this stuff away. I'm really weird about sorting, so you'll see me do weird stuff like that. Don't mind me. Hopefully it doesn't bother you that I sort things in a particular way. Oh, hey, look, a dandelion. These are obviously, I mean, you can eat them, but you actually... Oh, I guess daffodils aren't one. Not dandelions. Dandelions are great. You get a lot of energy back from them. But daffodils, they're good for gifting. A lot of people like them. All right, so it's about noon. Here's Marnie, and here's the doc going out for lunch. Yes, I know. Pleased to meet you. I'm Harvey, the local doctor. Sorry, I'm skipping through dialogue. I've seen all of it so many times. Again, I'm not really meaning to showcase the plot. I figure you'll see that all by yourself, so... All right, Pierre. Okay, so I still have 15 slots. I only have 500 gold. So, like, I can't buy 15 cauliflower seeds. That'd cost me 1,200, right? Because 10 would be 800, 5 more would be another 400, so that'd be 1,200. I obviously don't have enough for that. I want to buy at least one bean, and I sometimes buy two, but well, maybe I'll buy two this time. Because these, you plant them, it takes 10 days to mature, so they will mature on the 11th, but then it produces, I don't remember if it's every 3 days or every 4 days after that, it produces another bean. So you don't have to replant these like you do all the rest of the seeds. They're not super efficient. I don't particularly like them, and I'd rather just cycle through things, and because you get more farming XP for things that are more valuable. But I like to have them because a lot of times they're used for bundles. Sometimes people request them, and that's why I'll end up keeping a lot of things around. One of the big things in this game, especially the early game, is about knowing what's safe to sell immediately because you need the money. It's a huge balancing act of money versus not missing out on stuff later. And so you're always in that struggle early on, and it kind of evens out later. It becomes much less of a big thing. But so I'm going to get those. So I have 380, and I've got 13 slots left. So let's say I get... if I get 5 of these, that'd be 250. That'll leave me with 130. And I need 8, which would be 160, which wouldn't be quite enough. So I guess I'll get 3 of these. And then I still need, so that's that. So I need 10. Okay, I can get one more. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so I exactly spent my money, 9, 4, and 2. And that's why a lot of times I'll only get one, because then, you know, it makes this come out a little bit more even. I could sell this, but it's really worth keeping it for later for now. You must be Jason. I'm the new, or you're the new farmer. Yeah, she's not the new farmer. No, I'm the new farmer. She's Caroline. And there's Leah again. Good time to move here. Spring is lovely. Leah is the one who basically forages everything. She's not quite a freegan. She's just poor. So she mostly forages all of her food. Hi, Penny. Nice to meet you. It's best not to look through trash cans when they're within 8 tiles of you, because they go, oh, gross. But really good stuff can be found in these trash cans. So when you can, check them, especially on days where when you check the luck and it says that the spirits are very happy or something like that. Because I've gotten a diamond out of a trash can once, and those were 750 gold. Like, I did that on day 2 once and was like, okay, well, that just pretty much sets me up for the entire rest of the game. And remember, swinging my side does not cost me anything, so I'm just going to hit these in hopes of getting some more mixed seeds. So I didn't need to buy all of these because I could have checked. I don't remember if I have any mixies or if I have like one, but I didn't get a ton. So this is what we're looking for. Down here on this island during the spring, you'll find spring onions occasionally. A lot of times you'll find huge numbers of them, like this, or in all of these different places. This is amazing, though. You get foraging XP, so now I'm already up to, you got some new ideas to sleep on off of them, and then you can eat them, and they're worth not very much energy, but I've got 11 of them. So like dandelions are worth twice as much, but these are definitely best saved for the spring bundle. And I'll show you what I mean by that when we get there. I guess it doesn't really help me because I can't actually even pick up the mixed seeds right now. I don't have room in my inventory. Wow, cool. Am I going to have one of those weird ones? So usually dandelions are one of the limiting factors in how many of the spring seeds you can make. Yes, I know. I'm starting to feel exhausted. So exhausted. All right. But right now, so here I wanted to show you something. So 14 is how much energy I have. You see how it looks like I'm using energy to fill the water can at, but I still have 14. Whereas if I water, I'm down to 12. So it's good to know that for all that it looks like it's consuming energy, filling your watering can does not consume energy. So that's a really good thing to know. So we're going to put the forage stuff in here. And then I'm basically just going to eat all of this. Luckily, time doesn't pass during the animations. And this will give me plenty of energy. Yeah, hit it in the wrong order. I hit right-click to use it, and then the Y button to confirm it. But if you hit Y on the keyboard when you aren't in the middle of anything, that opens up the emote bar. It didn't used to do that because this game didn't used to have multiplayer. Now that it does, it has some multiplayer functionality that can kind of be annoying. But okay, so now we're going to water all of this. I always try to have 30 crops on day one. You're definitely best making sure you have at least a few more parsnips, because 15 parsnips is exactly enough to get you to farming level 1. But if a crow eats one of these between this planting and the harvest on the 5th, then you don't have 15 parsnips. And so you don't get to farming level 1 right on the 5th. So you can see that being a problem potentially. All right, now I have extra energy to go break some of these rocks up, get them out of my way. I got some coal, that sounds good. Okay, yeah, see, I did have a mixed seed. And in fact, I'm probably, since it's just one, I'm probably going to come do this and just kind of plant it. You can tell by looking at it, that's actually kind of cool, because I'm pretty sure, so all these little triple seeds, that's what parsnips look like. Single big seeds, that's what a potato looks like when you plant it. This can only be parsnips, potatoes, or cauliflower, so I think that means it's actually a cauliflower, which means that just saved me 80 gold right there. So, hooray. All right, I don't need to carry this around anymore. And I don't really have anything else to do other than go say hi to people and clean up my farm, or go chop down trees elsewhere, or whatever else I feel like doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and do some of that. I like to try to clear the path to and from the south end of the farm pretty early on. See, now these mixed seeds that I get when I'm clearing this stuff out, I'm going to save these so that I can replant for free later if I need to. It's the only way until you get to farming 9 to be able to plant for free. And you have to be sort of careful, because since it can be cauliflower, and cauliflower takes 12 days to mature, the month goes through the 28th, which means if on the 16th you plant a mixed seed, no matter what, it's going to mature at the latest by the 28th. And so you'll have it on the last day of the month. But if on the 17th you were to plant a mixed seed, it's possible you could end up with cauliflower, which will not mature in time, and you will have wasted it. So it's worth keeping an eye on the longest potential that it could be, and making sure you don't plant mixed seeds too early, or excuse me, too late in the month. What is that? Okay, it was a bush. So mostly I'm trying to break up. I can't break the big rocks until I've upgraded my pickaxe. I can't chop down the hardwood stumps or the big logs until I've upgraded my actual axe. When it says you're starting to become exhausted, so this starts shaking first, then it says you're starting to feel exhausted. I think that's when you get to 15 or less energy. It generally takes about 2 energy to swing a tool. It's not quite that, because as you get more proficiency, it gets to be less and less. But as long as you don't get to 0 energy, there's no negative side effects. So if I was to swing my tool again, I would actually get exhausted. It's a status effect you get, and then you wake up at like half energy, and you have like the sore thing, and you're fatigued. And the only way to get rid of that is to buy a muscle tonic from the doctor, and it's just kind of a pain, and you don't want to be doing that. So I mostly try to keep myself from hitting that. I don't think, other than the very first time I played when I didn't know that was an issue, I don't think I've ever gotten myself sore. You just have to keep aware of it. And now I'm coming into town to come say hi to all the people who are at the bar, because everybody you talk to is people you talk to. Here's how you can keep track of who you've talked to and who you haven't. Anybody you haven't talked to, you'll see their face, but just question marks. So like, or hi, I'm Clint. Yep, I hadn't talked to him yet. I don't know why you're talking to me. That's Shane. I don't think I talked to any of these guys either. Name's Pam. Nice to meet you, Pam. I'm Gus, chef and owner of the Stardrop Saloon. I love Emily. She's awesome. I can read it on your face. You're going to love it here in Pelican Town. So funny. If you're ever looking for something to do in the evening, stop by the saloon. That's where I work. I'm like, yeah, I know, because you're behind the bar right now at the saloon, where we are currently. I think it's too late. I was going to say I could go see if I get Sebastian. He goes and smokes by the lake up north in the evenings. But I think it's too late. He's probably gone back and gone to bed. Usually it's best to catch him about 7:30 or 8. Sebastian's one of the ones that's really hard to catch, because he spends a lot of his time in his room, and until you have 2 hearts with him and are therefore able to go into his room, it's hard to find him in places where you can actually talk to him. So, all right. Well, that is day 1. We don't sleep for the night. We got level 1 foraging, and so now trees can drop seeds, and you can combine those seeds to make field snacks, which is a way to regenerate your energy. And it is the way to regenerate your energy until you start growing like carrots or something, that's what they're for. So, all right, so forecast for tomorrow. See, it will rain all day tomorrow because the 3rd always rains all day. Fortune teller says, somewhat annoyed today. Luck will not be on your side. All right, well, we're pretty unlikely to find anything worth seeing in the trash cans then. Just got back from a fishing trip. This is where I have apparently the most controversial of opinions. I love the fishing minigame. And I always kind of have. I find it an interesting challenge. And I think it just fits my kind of ADHD. It scratches that itch. It's like a fiddling thing, but you have to fiddle in exactly the right pattern. And I don't know, it's just awesome. I really like it. Most people who first play this game hate it. Most people that I talk to hate it, but I am particularly fond of it. So I am not going to be breaking open any rocks or chopping down any trees. So I'm going to clear out as much space in my inventory as I can, because I'm going to go fishing, and I just don't have that much space to fit stuff in, and I want to be able to. So you have to get down to the beach before 5 p.m. in order to get this fishing rod. It's not really a big deal. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, and I can just head there. I always try to keep a sword or scythe or something in my inventory in my first slot, just so that I don't accidentally spend energy by clicking. All right, so there's nothing going on here. There's a quest. These are always worth doing. Ooh, hell yes. I might be able to catch a flounder today. So when you accept the quest, you have that whole day and the next entire day to complete the quest and then go find the person to turn it into. So if I catch a flounder, which is something you can catch in the ocean, which is what I'm about to go do, is go spend a bunch of time fishing in the ocean. I can bring it back here. Emily will pay me 3 times the going value for it. Flounder are normally worth 100 gold. She'll give me 300, which is just a stupid amount right now. And then I would like to direct your attention to this. This took me forever to see, even once it got implemented. So there's these 3 stars. Every time you complete a help wanted, you get a star. Once you get your 3rd star, then when you turn in that task, you will get a ticket, a prize ticket. Prize tickets are redeemed inside the mayor's house, and they're some really cool stuff. So you have to kind of get lucky, because there's only, I think, a 60% base chance that there will be, I'm going to check them anyway. There's only a 60% base chance that there will be a quest, and sometimes there are quests that you literally cannot complete. Oh, okay, well, it's still locked. I was going to go show you that. I might end up throwing away this acorn. We'll see. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and skip this. So the very first time, to teach you how this works, you don't actually lose any progress when your bar isn't behind the fish. So as you can see, like the catch bar is not going down. When you're every time after this very first time, you lose progress, and it goes away faster than it builds. All right, and I caught a sardine. So you have to have it behind the fish something like 65 or 75% of the time in order to successfully catch the fish. This game is really easy. This mini game is really easy to accidentally overdo everything. If you just hold down the mouse, it responds heavily. The bar accelerates and decelerates. It has some physics attached to it. As you can see, if you let it bounce off the bottom, it literally bounces on the bottom, which can really get you sometimes. So you might be able to hear it from my mic. I don't know if the noise canceling is going to make it hard enough, but I'll try and shut up when I'm catching the next fish. And you can see if you can hear me clicking, because a lot of times it's actually rapid clicking, and the speed at which you click, so the longer you hold it before you release and click again, will determine how much it goes up or down or stays steady. And that's kind of always been my secret. Or we could have a bottom feeder, which basically isn't going to go anywhere anyway. If you get a perfect means that at no time during the catching process did the fish ever get outside of your green bar. That's really hard to do for the first couple of points. Like, see, I've already messed it up and I'm not getting it perfect. But if you get a perfect, your fish is upgraded. Hey, look, the flounder I needed. Nice. It's upgraded 1 star, so that would have been a silver star if I had gotten it perfect, rather than being an unstarred fish. That's the only way, as far as I know, to get iridium starfish, is to be casting far enough that you get gold starfish by default, and then get a perfect on it. But the other thing you get is that it's also worth 3 times as much XP. So you gain XP like crazy for being good at the game. So it just sort of makes it so the people who are naturally good at this game have an advantage over the people who aren't, not just because they're good at it, but because then their bar gets bigger faster. Yeah, see, boom, just got a perfect. Oh, look, got some new ideas to sleep on. Hey, look, oh, wow, that upgraded to gold. That's pretty cool. Sick. So that's going to be worth 150 gold, because a gold star is worth half again as much as a regular. So a silver star is 25% more, gold star is half again, and a iridium star is double. When you don't have bait, it takes so long. That's actually one of the disadvantages of the training rod as well. Although, that only matters if you were far enough to get the upgraded rod anyway, because you can't put bait on the regular bamboo pole. The fiberglass, I think, is the upgraded middle tier, and that allows you to put bait on the hook, which causes them to bite way more often. So you get more catches for the same amount of time spent fishing. This is perhaps the single most profitable way to make money until your first crop. Almost nothing else you do can get you this kind of money, especially since you can't even go into the caves until the 5th. And that's the only other place that you might get something comparable. But even then, for the amount of time you spend, you just can't beat fishing for profit. So I was told last night when I was talking to my friend who plays this that the training rod apparently gives you the same size bar. Ooh, that's nice. See, I'm all full up now, so I'm just going to go probably sell a bunch of stuff I don't need. You get the same price from selling to a vendor as you would from shipping it. It doesn't count as shipping it for things like there are some achievements that are ship X of whatever. Selling it to the vendor doesn't count for that, so if you care about the achievement, that's a thing. Yeah, but I've never used the training rods. I'd never done it because it wasn't introduced when I first started playing the game. And by the time it was introduced, I was too good at the game to need it because I was forced to learn how to play it the harder way. So, but from what I understand, this gives you a bar the same size it would be if you were at fishing skill 5. So it can absolutely be worth just using this until you get to fishing skill 5 and then swapping to the other pole. I think there are some fish you literally cannot hook. Like, I don't know about flounder. That might still be a basic fish, but I can tell you for sure the catfish, when it rains, can't get on your hook. But if you're the kind of person who needs the training rod, you aren't going to land a catfish anyway, probably at all during the spring. You're probably going to wait and try to land it during the fall when you're in the like 7 or 8 fishing skill range. So anyway, I'm going to sell this for 150 because heck yeah, I am. And then that gets me up to 367. That's pretty great. And then I'm just going to keep this one. The reason I sold the Gold Star one is because it's worth more money. But regardless of what the quality is, Emily, I think it is. Yeah, Emily is going to give me the same amount for it either way. So if I bring her a Gold Star one, she gives me 300 for one I could have sold for 150. If I bring her a not Gold Star one, she gives me 300 for one I could have sold for 100. So it's not worth trying to min-max it, because if what you're doing is constantly catching Gold Star fish, obviously it's still going to be twice as much as you would have gotten for the Gold Star. So you might as well still go do it. But, oh, weak sauce, Jason. I almost perfected that guy again. But anyway, but if you happen to have one anyway for reasons, and there can be all kinds of reasons. Most of the time, if there's a bubble pool, you'll see them. I'll point it out when I see one. You catch things way faster if you're fishing in a bubble pool. And it is way more worth the speed at which you catch fish by fishing out of a bubble pool than it is worth to get the maximum cast and therefore the highest quality fish you can get most of the time for both your skill and for profit purposes. Man, I'm just catching flounder like crazy. Yeah, the reason I'm up to Silver Star now is because I've obviously gained a fishing level, and so therefore I cast a little farther, and if the farther away you cast from a walkable tile, the higher quality fish you get. You gain that immediately upon gaining the skill. A lot of side effects you gain immediately. What you don't gain immediately are any crafting recipes associated with leveling up until that night when it tells you you leveled. But that's what that little message that says you have some new ideas to sleep on, that means you gained a level. But it will only say that for the first level you gain in the first skill you gain a level in for the day. So it won't tell me if I was to go chop down more trees today, because it told me that when I got my fishing. If I went and chopped down a bunch of trees and raised my foraging, it wouldn't say it again, because I already have ideas to sleep on, so it doesn't tell me, oh look, you got even more ideas to sleep on. So one of my favorite mods is something that gives you little XP bars, so you can see exactly where your XP is. It just renders them right up here in the upper left corner. Obviously, if you're playing on console, mods are not really a thing, because you have to be running the Modders API, which is a whole different way of launching the game in order to make it work. Interesting bit of trivia. Pathos Child, the person who wrote Stardew Modding API, actually later got hired by Eric Baroni to help do the maintenance and stuff, because he now has a small team working on Stardew Valley. So when you get these chests, the best way I find to get it is to get your progress bar almost all the way to the top, then go get the chest, then go back to trying to land the fish. It's always worth getting the chest as well. I mean, like, this wasn't all that spectacular. It was fine. That's probably all I'm going to want to do for right now. I mean, I could go back and just keep fishing, but I'm not keeping any of these things right now because it's just not that crucial. All of these are things that I can catch anytime. Literally any season, any weather. Ooh, hey, look at that. So these are, I call them worm squares. Apparently, Eric Baroni says they are stems poking out of the ground. But then they wiggle just to get your attention. Wow, that's a lot of clay, which is amazing. Those are places that if you hit them with the hoe, you will get something. There will be something hidden there. And a lot of times it's really good stuff. Yeah, hey look, Elliot. Elliot's one of the hard people to find. That was one of the other things I decided I was going to do. So I think Emily should be on her way. She starts work at 4 here. She might actually already be in there, though. Well, maybe she must be. No. Oh, it's Tuesday, right. She doesn't come until 4:30 because she's doing aerobics. Every Tuesday, this group of gals gets together and does aerobics in Caroline's living room. Yeah, here. I got a flounder for you. No, not eat it. Is that the flounder request? It looks perfect. So she gives me 300 gold. It also makes her happy. So it basically counts as me giving her a gift. I think it's a like gift, not a love gift. But it gives her a boost. It doesn't count as a gift, so I could still give her 2 gifts this week. And so you can gain a lot of reputation by doing those. But then also, every third one you do, you get a prize ticket. And you'll see that soon. I'm just going to talk to everybody. I think I've already met everybody except Jody out of this group, but I just met Jody. So I'm pretty sure, so I know I need the old couple, Sam and Vincent, and okay, both the kids. Here's the old couple, there's Maru, Demetrius, Sebastian, Linus. So basically it's mostly people up in Robin's area, up in the mountains. Hey look, there's Maru. Nice. Sorry you're not in a good mood, Abigail. You're the new guy, huh? Cool. Yeah, I am cool. You're very right. Irritating having to meet all these new people, isn't it? Yeah, a little bit. Can be. You can call me Granny if you like. I don't wish to. So I think now that leaves me with Demetrius. Okay, yeah. The 2 kids, Sam, then Linus, Demetrius, and Sebastian. Bye, bye, little Sebastian. Hey, look, the kids. Miss you in the saddest fashion. She's such a bitch. Nice shoes. Those made out of plastic. Nice face. Is that made out of asshole? Sorry if you're watching this with your kids. Yeah, it's worth noting that generally anything that I'm recording is probably not anything you should be watching with children, unless you don't mind a bit of profanity in your children's lives. I can't help it. I was born this way. I think Sam is still working. Should be sweeping up in the back here. No? Where in the poop is he? Alright, well, I guess Sam will just have to be the last one I need to talk to, because Sebastian should be up here, and Demetrius, and I should be able to, like, Demetrius should just be standing out staring over the cliff. That was a daffodil over there. I'm just not going to go detour for it right now. Look, Sebastian, Demetrius. And then Linus, of course. But Linus is easy because he doesn't mind you coming into his tent regardless of not having any friendship with him at all. Just walk right into his tent. So, even if he's not out here, like if you went to bed, he'd be like, oh, hey, look, you in there? Yay, look, Linus. So easy. think Sam might be home if I swing by his house. Well, we'll give it a try. And then I'll just grab this daffodil on my way by. Daffodils are almost never the limiting factor, but they have been for me once in the past. It's usually either dandelions or horseradish. Sometimes both. I'm not going to make it to their house in time to go in anyway. Okay. They will only let you into their house to a certain time. They might even be 8 o'clock rather than 8:30. I don't know. Okay, well, I'll just catch Sam tomorrow then. He's the last person I have left to meet, I believe. Yeah, 27 out of 28 greeted. All right, so what are we selling? I guess the clam. And that's pretty much all right now. I really like to keep the sea jellies around. The jellies, you can combine one of each jelly, and I think it's... I don't remember what the last thing is. Something else. And that's how you make the fish smoker, which is just an absolute shocker of a profitability thing. So, all right. So, put that away. Put everything back the way it goes. Oh, yeah, that's not right. There we go. I would normally put the watering can away, but since I'm going to go to... Oh, yeah, actually I can, because it's not going to rain tomorrow. I mean, it's going to rain tomorrow, so I don't need to water tomorrow. I have a little bit of energy left, so I'm going to spend that... Oh, hey, look. I got a geode. So you can see that, like, it's the second, and I'm already up over 1,000 gold again, even after spending myself down to 0. That's because of all the fish that I sold. Mostly I wouldn't get this until now if I had sold them to the shipping bin. And it really wouldn't have mattered other than the fact I wanted to get them out of my inventory so that I could continue to accumulate stuff. Inventory size is absolutely the most important thing, and you should always, if you've got the money to afford one of the backpack upgrades, do it. There's actually a cool trick, though, as well, that since you don't buy it directly from Pierre, even if he's not behind the counter, and therefore you can't, like, go interact with his shop, you can still buy the backpacks. As long as you can go into his house, you can buy the backpack. So it's best to try to get to bed around midnight or a little earlier if you can. Or if you're out of energy, there's no reason not to just go to bed anyway. But if you get to bed after, I think it's after midnight multiple days in a row, and I know after 1 o'clock at all, you don't actually regenerate all of your energy back. I'm down to 15, so... Okay, that's probably that. I'm cool with 7 energy. And then 10 time. I don't really like the darkness. It was obviously, it's an interesting mechanic, but it doesn't seem to be particularly well utilized. It becomes totally irrelevant and just becomes an inconvenience at best. And then eventually you can just make it a non-issue. And I think it just should have been a non-issue to start with, but whatever. Oh, I got mining up. That's cool. All right. Well, next time we're going to be loading in to day 3 of spring, and this will be the first day that it's raining. I'm going to go ahead and log out for now. But when we come back, we'll do that. I'm going to try and see if I can land a catfish today. Mostly to show off because I like showing off. But I have done it. It is possible, and I know that because I've done it twice. Not just one time. I did it actually just like 2 days ago on a different save. So I know that it can be done. I know that I am capable of doing it. And so I'm going to give it a whirl. I'm going to give it my best effort to try and land that catfish. Doing so is huge for your momentum. So anyway, thanks very much for watching, and I hope to catch you again on the next one. Bye now.